Hello, I'm Cath. My channel is Made by Cath Craft. Thank you very much for joining me for this video. So this video is going to be a bit of a sewing catch-up. I'm going to be talking about what I've been up to on the sewing front over the last couple of weeks. I've also got a couple of new sewing projects planned I'm going to share with you as well. And over the last couple of weeks, as well as sewing, I've been doing a bit of crochet. I've been working on my latest crochet project. So I'm going to share my progress on that too, but I'll include that right at the end of the video in case you're here just for the sewing content and aren't so fussed about the crochet. So that is my plan for this video, and it's really nice to be back on because it feels like I haven't filmed a video for a while now. Last week here it was half term, so my children were off school for the week and we had a really nice week. The weather was really good, we were really lucky, so we're able to get out and do lots of things, but I wasn't sure if I'd be able to squeeze in a video that week. So what I thought I'd do was, the week before half term I filmed 2 videos so I could put one out on each weekend either end of half term, so I'd be able to continue loading up videos. But it does feel like a while since I've actually been on the camera chatting to you guys, so it is nice to be back. And because there's been a bit of a break for a week or two, I've got quite a lot to talk about, so I'm looking forward to sharing it all. But I'll start off as ever with what I'm wearing today. And the weather continues to be nice here. We're into June now. It doesn't feel really summery. In the mornings, it's always quite cold at the moment, and then as the day goes on it gradually gets warmer. So I've sort of been reaching for summery garments that I can layer up. And over the last few days I've mainly gone for dresses, and then I've sort of popped leggings on and a cardigan. And if it's got warmer later in the day I've just taken the leggings or the cardigan off. But today I thought I'd mix it up and just wear something a bit different, just for fun. And I'm wearing a handmade top and a handmade pair of trousers. And if you watch my videos regularly, you'll know I'm not a big wearer of trousers, and I don't often make them either, I guess, because I don't wear them that much. I do wear quite a lot of jeans, but I generally will sort of make and wear dresses or skirts more. But actually I've made a couple of pairs of swishy summery trousers over the last year or so, and I've been really enjoying wearing them actually, so I'm definitely starting to get converted to wearing trousers as part of a sort of mix of my handmade wardrobe. So I'll talk about the t-shirt first and then the trousers. The t-shirt I'm wearing today I made using this pattern here, which is a free pattern. It's one I really like. It's the Stellantis pattern by French Navy, and it's really easy to get hold of this pattern. You just need to go on the French Navy website and it's available to download. I'll link it down below. I don't think you even need to sign up to a newsletter or anything. I think it's just there to be able to download. But it's a really nice, fairly boxy, relaxed fit t-shirt with this sort of round neck. You can sort of roll up the sleeves to make a little cuff at the bottom. And it's just got quite a straight fit and a subtly curved hemline as well. So that's a nice extra feature to it. It hasn't got the biggest size range at the moment. It goes from a UK 6 up to a UK 18. Which takes you up to bust of 42 centimetres. But it's quite a nice, quick, simple sew, and I just find it quite a nice, comfy, basic t-shirt to wear. I always make the UK size 6. That's designed for a bust of 32 inches, waist of 24 and hips 34. My waist and hips would put me as a size 8. My bust would be in the size 6 range. And I've always gone on my bust measurement because it's quite a straight fit, so I find it sort of, as you can see, it's not too tight across the bust and it kind of skims across my waist and hips too. And the version I'm wearing today, I made in a bamboo jersey fabric. I think it's one of those bamboo jerseys that's 95% bamboo and 5% elastane, because I know you can get some that are like a bamboo cotton mix. And I haven't tried those actually. I guess they might not be quite as drapey and as silky as like a kind of more of a kind of 95% bamboo, but I love bamboo jersey and I think it's perfect for a t-shirt like this. It's nice and swishy and comfy to wear. And I find the Stellantis works particularly well in quite a drapey, lightweight jersey. I've made it in a bamboo jersey and a viscose jersey and I really like it. I did make one in a cotton jersey and didn't like it quite as much. I think because the seam line just sits just off your shoulder here, I found the cotton jersey made the seam line feel a little bit too bulky and it made my shoulders feel a bit more square. So yeah, I definitely prefer this pattern in a drapier jersey, but it's just a quite nice, basic, comfy top. I added the little turn-ups. You can hopefully just about see them there. I've got this in a couple of colours. I've got it in navy too, and they're great to just throw on when I want like a plain top, when I've got a print on my bottom half, which is what I've got on today. I'll stand up a bit so you can see my trousers. So you can see the print there. My trousers I made in this lovely viscose challis fabric that I got ages ago from Rainbow Fabrics. It's got this large scale monochromatic sort of flower print. I'll stand up a bit again just so you can see it a bit closer. I really like that print actually. And the trousers I made using a pattern from this book here. The Tilly and the Buttons Make It Simple book. I've tried a couple of patterns from this book, but I haven't tried them all yet. I should really try a couple more, I think. I think I've made the cardigan, the Bertha cardigan, and then I've made these trousers, which are, I have actually also tried the Tabitha t-shirt and t-shirt dress actually, so I've tried a few things from this book, but yeah, the trousers I'm wearing today are these trousers here, the Sophia trousers, and they're a really nice simple project. They come quite early in the book. They might be the first project in the book possibly, so I guess they're probably even maybe the most simple in the book possibly. Here they are. So they are trousers that have an elasticated waist at the back and then a sort of partially flat fronted waistband at the front. The elastic comes a little bit way round, and they've got quite like a sort of wide leg to them, so they're quite nice and comfy to wear, and they come together quite nicely, and I guess they're quite easy to fit too. With the elasticated waist you can just bring the elastic in as much as you need to fit them nicely. In terms of sizing, they go from a UK 6 up to a UK 24, which takes you up to a waist of 42 inches and hips of 51 inches. And I think I made a size 8 for my pair, which is designed for waist 26 inches and hips 35 inches. I think I went for a straight size 8, even though my hips are 1 inch larger on the hip measurement, but actually there's plenty of room in them. But yeah, they sewed up really nicely. I like the little flat fronted bit of the waistband. I'll stand a bit so you can see that here. And then elasticated around the back. They have pockets which are kind of anchored to the waistband, but actually for my pair I just made a little bit of an adjustment because I've got kind of like a long torso all the way, I think, from my shoulder down to my crotch, and I wanted to make sure they would kind of sit around my natural waist rather than sitting more on my hips, so I ended up lengthening the sort of crotch area a bit to bring them up right to my natural waist, rather than sitting a bit lower. And I ended up adding in just simple straight inseam pockets instead of anchoring them to the top. I can't remember at the time why I did that. I think it was just that I wasn't quite sure about how it would work and whether the pockets would end up at the wrong place if I brought them up, and I wasn't sure about making them really long, the pockets, so I just switched them for simple inseam pockets, which seem to work fine in the drapey viscose. You don't really notice them too much there. But yeah, I really enjoy wearing these trousers actually. I've kind of cropped them slightly. I'll put a picture up so you can see what they look like on. So they've got sort of like quite a summery, cropped, relaxed vibe. And today on the school run I wore them just with a denim jacket and a pair of trainers, and it was quite a nice comfy outfit of sort of dashing up to school. My children on the scooters, they always whiz ahead of me, so yeah, I felt quite sporty in these trousers and this t-shirt whizzing up behind them. So that's what I'm wearing today. I took a picture actually of my jeans and denim jacket and trainers look too, so I'll put that up as well. But yeah, that is what I'm wearing today. So I'll move on now to sharing what I've been up to over the last week or so on the sewing front. And I don't always get quite as much time to sew when my children are off school for holidays, but I did manage to sew up one top over the last week or so, and I made it using this pattern here, which is the Emmy T pattern by Jennifer Lauren Handmade. If you'll have seen my recent sewing makes video, my May sewing makes video, I'll link it up above in case you didn't see it. I released that last weekend. I made a version of this pattern and I really enjoyed making it and really liked how it turned out, so I went on to make another one. But it's a really cute pattern. It's quite new. It's a jersey top pattern for this t-shirt, or you can make a long sleeve jersey top. And the t-shirt has sort of grown on sleeves and the long sleeve top has like a dropped shoulder. But what I really loved about this pattern when it was released was this, this sort of slash and piece option here, which Jennifer Lauren said would be great for using up jersey scraps. And I thought that was a fab idea because some of the pattern pieces are really quite small, so you can use up even the most tiny jersey scraps that you've kind of just been saving because they're lovely fabrics. It's nice to be able to put them to good use. So yeah, I was quite excited when this pattern came out. It's got a good size range too. There are two sort of size ranges available. There's the original, which comes in a UK 6 to 24 and is available in A and B and C and D cups. Then there's a curve version which goes from a UK 16 to 34 and is available in C and D and E and F cups. So yeah, I got the original pattern. I had a look at the size, and I think it put me as a straight size 8 when I had a look at my cup size and also my general measurements. So yeah, I sewed up my first version, which is in my video last week, and I really enjoyed that. So I went on to make version number 2. My first version was this version here, this short-sleeved t-shirt, which has these cute cuffs on, which I really liked. And I only had enough of the fabric that I'd chosen for that one to make this version. But I also wanted to give it a go making the longer sleeve version, so that's what I did for my second one. And here is my second scrap busting Emmy T. So yeah, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I used a variety of cotton jerseys for this one. The main cotton jersey was actually not a scrap fabric, it's just a length of fabric I'd had in my stash for quite a while. I think I had maybe a metre of it and hadn't really got any set plans. And when I was looking through all my little fabric scraps, I found some colours that I thought would go quite well with it, so I thought I'd put it towards this Emmy T. And then the other fabrics, all scraps left over from other projects. This fabric here, this really cute fabric with this sort of roses and this sort of grey and white stripes in the background. This I originally made as a Freya top by Tilling the Buttons, and I still love wearing that Freya top. It's one of my favourites. Actually, I love that print. It's quite a large scale floral print. This pale pink fabric, I think I used it originally to make a Frankie tee for me, another pattern by Tilling the Buttons from their stretch book, again like the Freya top, which I don't have anymore because I didn't find that pattern was quite for me. I found the neckline too tight and it just wasn't such a comfy fit on me. But I think I had, because it was a scrap busting, no it wasn't, it was a colour block t-shirt. I made a colour blocked Frankie t-shirt in this originally, and I had quite a lot of this fabric left over, so I think my daughter also has now a little bedtime t-shirt in this fabric, and I made her a little pair of sort of pyjama shorts and a different cotton jersey, and then I added a little pocket on this fabric to match the pyjama shorts, and she still wears that outfit actually. I think she was only wearing it possibly even last night actually, is this sort of pale pink colour. It's not a colour I generally go for myself actually. I'm not sure why I chose it for my Frankie tee, because I'm not sure I suit like a really pale pink, but anyway, it worked quite well here because I got the sort of deeper pink, which I think suits me better near my face, and I've still got it on there. And then this stripy cotton jersey is one I used quite recently actually for, I made it a solar tee by Paper Cut Patterns out of this fabric. This fabric I got from First for Fabrics actually. It's a really nice yarn dyed stripy cotton jersey. So it's probably still in stock there. If it is, I'll link it down below. But I had a decent amount left over for my solar tee, or at least enough pretty much to cut out this front piece. What I ended up doing actually for this version is, because this piece here, I had just enough to cut it out, but I only had enough to cut it out if I sort of switched all the pattern pieces around. So this is essentially a mirror image of the Emmy T. I had to kind of turn them all around, just because the way the pattern piece fit, it would only fit if I cut it that way, not that way, if that makes sense. But yeah, this is my Emmy T with the long sleeves. It's really enjoyable. So this one, like I mentioned in my makes video, it's just one of those patterns that comes together really nicely. All the notches match up so well, and I guess that's quite important when you're doing this sort of slash and piece. You want them all to come together nicely and for all the seams to look really sharp, and they really do come together nicely. So I'd really recommend this pattern. It's a lot of fun to sew, and I think it'd be really nice just in a one colour as well. I've only done the slash and piece versions just because I had a lot of fun pulling out some scraps, but I definitely would make it in a plain fabric too. I think it'll be quite nice all in stripes possibly. But yeah, that is my Emmy T. I've got a picture of it, so I'll pop it up here so you can see what it looks like on. I'm just glad to use a few of those scraps, particularly like this little fabric here. I love it. I didn't have much of it left. I didn't want to turn it into something like a pair of pants, like a pair of knickers where you wouldn't see it. So it's nice to have a little sort of peek of it on this top. So yeah, that is what I've been working on. It's a nice sew, comes together quite quickly, and I think it's quite effective, the whole slash and piece look. So yeah, that is my Emmy T. So the next thing that I've got to share is a new fabric that I think arrived with me last week. And the weather here at the moment is great for drying clothes and fabric outside. So as soon as this fabric arrived, I popped it in the wash and got it out on the line, and it dried really quickly, which is very handy, much easier than finding places for it to dry inside. And this fabric is one that was gifted to me by Minerva in exchange for a blog post that I'll be writing and popping up on the website once I've finished sewing this fabric up. And the fabric is a medium weight French terry fabric. It's a 95% cotton, 5% elastane, I believe. It comes in loads and loads of colours. I'll link it down below. And I've got this fabric because I would like to make up a matching loungewear set. So I want to make myself a top and a pair of joggers. And I thought that would be really handy for this summer when we're going to be doing a bit of travelling. I thought it would be a perfect outfit to maybe wear when we go on the plane, nice and comfy, but also feel a little bit put together because it's matching as well. So that is my plan with this fabric. So the colourway I chose is this really pretty blue colour. I think it was described as marine, so I wasn't quite sure what to expect. It looked kind of like, I thought it looked on the website like it would be sort of quite a pretty sort of royal blue style colour, but the fact that it was called marine made me think maybe it might turn up a bit differently than what I expected. But actually I was really happy when it arrived because it has got a lovely sort of rich blue colour to it. It did look a lot like the colour on the website, so yeah, I was really happy when it arrived because I was hoping it would be this sort of colour. So it's this really pretty rich blue colour which I really like. And what I'd like to make is, yeah, like I said, loungewear suit, and I'm planning to use two of my favourite patterns to make this. So the first pattern I want to use for the top is this one here, the Milan Sweatshirt pattern. This is definitely one of my top sweatshirt patterns. I really love it. I find it's a fun make and also really comfy to wear. So there's 3 different variations available. It's just basically like a dropped shoulder sweatshirt that's fairly relaxed to fit. But it's got some cool details, like it's got a back yoke, which is a bit unusual on a sweatshirt pattern, I think. It's also got these style lines. The seams kind of come around the front and create these sort of diagonal style lines. On the sleeves, there are these darts, which I love. I love that feature. Then it's got a round neck and cuffs. You can make this version here that has this sort of tie. You could probably see it better with this model on the front. I haven't tried that. And you can also make this cute sort of crossover version with a kangaroo pouch and a hood. And I haven't tried that version either. I just love this View A version. It's quite a classic sweatshirt with some really pretty details. I think I might have made 4 versions of this actually in like a thick sweatshirting fabric, which I wear all the time in winter. They're really lovely and cozy, but I thought it'd be nice to try it in French terry, and I thought it might have a bit of a different vibe to it when I make it in French terry because it's a bit more lighter and a bit less sort of thick and stiff, I guess, than a sweatshirt fabric. So that is my plan for the top. I think what I'm going to do is just make a straight size. I think I've always gone for the size 0, which is quite a lot smaller than my measurements, but when you look at the finished garment measurements inside the pattern envelope, there's quite a lot of ease on this one. So even the size 0 I find comes up a bit large on me, because even though I've sized down. And I think I'm going to make it a little bit cropped. So basically to do that, I'm just going to make the straight sweatshirt because I find it comes up a bit short on me. And when I've wanted to make like a cozy winter version, I've lengthened it a bit to bring it down to just kind of covering over the top of my jeans. But for this version, for a slightly more summery version, I thought it'd be nice to have it cropped. So I'm going to make the straight sweatshirt View A without making any adjustments for length. Well, I will lengthen the sleeve still because I do need that, otherwise they'll end up short. But I'm not going to lengthen the body at all, and that gives like a naturally cropped fit on me with my longer torso. So that's my plan for the top. And it'll be interesting actually because when I've made my versions in sweatshirt fabric, I've always used ribbing for like the neckband and the sleeve cuffs. And I find ribbing's really forgiving for a neckband. I just find it sits nicer than if you try and use, say, like a French terry. So it'll be interesting to see how well the neckband sits with a French terry. I think I might just do a bit more fiddling around with it to make sure it lies fairly flat. So yeah, because I don't think there's any matching ribbing available for this one. But a French terry I think will be fine for a neckband because it's got enough stretch. I wouldn't have wanted to make a neckband in my fleecy sweatshirt fabric because I don't think it would have had enough stretch to sit right at all. But yeah, that is my plan for the top. And then for the bottom, I'm going to use my favourite joggers pattern, which I love, which is the True Bias Hudson pants pattern. It's funny actually, because I was having a bit of a look through my wardrobe the other day, and I thought I've got a couple of pairs of Hudson pants that are quite old now, and because I've worn them so much, and they start off as quite a snug fit, they've gone a bit baggy at the knees and things, just through like loads of wear. And I thought maybe I should sort of maybe actually think about actually getting rid of a couple of these pairs because they are getting quite old now. So I tried on all my pairs of Hudson pants and actually ended up getting rid of none of them because I love them all so much, even the ones that have gone a bit baggy at the knee. I still love them just because it's such a great pattern. I think it even looks good still when it's gone a bit baggy at the knee and they're so comfy too. But yeah, this is the Hudson pants pattern. It's quite a slim fit jogger pattern. It's definitely quite sort of, as you can see on the model, it's not designed to be too sort of roomy in the leg. Then it's got a sort of slightly oversized cuff at the bottom. It's got an elasticated waistband, little sort of pockets with a little sort of feature pocket detail on, and you can add an optional drawstring cord. and it has quite a sort of a low-waisted fit here. I think there was a tutorial online possibly to be able to make it into more of a high-waisted fit, but I quite like the low rise on the Hudsons. I find that quite comfy. I did try the Closet Core Plateau joggers, which have a slightly higher rise, and I didn't find it so comfy having the elastic around my natural waist. I think I prefer it sitting a bit lower. So yeah, the Hudson pants is always the jogger pattern I come back to. So yeah, I'm going to make a pair in this nice French terry fabric. I find the Hudson pants works really well in a French terry. I haven't made a pair for me for ages actually. I feel like I've made this pattern recently, but it's only because I'm always making more for my son, because he loves the pattern too. I've got the mini version for him. So it'd be nice to make a pair for myself instead of him this time. I think I make the size 2. My waist would put me as a size 0 and my hips would put me as a size 4. So I think the first version I made when I was quite new to sewing, I just thought I'll sort of split the difference, make a straight size 2, and the fit is fine. It is quite a sort of slim fit on the leg, but I quite like that look. And yeah, I find it quite comfy. Again, because I'm using all French terry for it, I might make the cuffs at the bottom a little bit wider to make them a bit easier to get on, because yeah, I do find it a bit less stretchy than ribbing. But other than that, yeah, I'm really looking forward to making a pair for myself, because I haven't made a pair for me for absolutely ages. So that is my plan for this fabric, to make those 2 patterns. And they both should be quite nice, sort of fairly simple sews. So I'm quite looking forward to doing that, because as well as making my Emmy T recently, I also made a swimsuit, again, which I talked about in my May makes video, which is a bit more of a tricky make. So it's nice to have a couple of sort of simple palette cleanser makes after that make. So that is my plan for this fabric. So I'll update you on how I get on and share my final loungewear set once I've finished that. Oh, and I just realised I forgot to mention the size range on both of those loungewear patterns. They both have really good size ranges. The Hudson pants has 2 size bands, a US 0 to 18 and a US 14 to 30. And the Milan Sweatshirt also has 2 size bands, a US 0 to 20 and a US 14 to 32. So both have really good size ranges, and both are really comfy loungewear patterns that I definitely recommend. And I think I've got 3 meters of my French terry fabric, so hopefully that should be plenty to be able to sew up my loungewear set. So as well as that fabric that I was gifted by Minerva, I've also had another new fabric arriving, I think again last week, and this is one I bought. It's another one from Minerva, and I'm quite excited about sewing this one up actually. It's one my daughter chose, because we were chatting about how a couple of summers ago I made us matching dresses for summer, and she's since grown out of her version. I still wear mine, but yeah, she was quite sad to grow out of it, and she said, could I possibly make us another matching pair of dresses? And I was really happy she asked actually, because I wasn't sure if she'd still want to. She's 7 now, so yeah, I wasn't sure if she'd still be up for that, so I hadn't really mentioned it, but I was really excited when she said she'd like to, because I thought that would be a really fun project, and I'd love to be able to twin with her while she does still want to. So yeah, we had a little look on the Minerva website at some different fabrics. I basically searched for cotton jersey and then narrowed it down to pink cotton jerseys, because she loves the colour pink, and she had a good old look through because there were loads of different options available, and eventually settled on a fabric that I love actually. I was really pleased she chose this one, because a couple of the other ones she quite liked the look of were more novelty prints, so they're sort of fabrics I might not have picked to wear myself. Yeah, particularly once she grows out of her dress, I'd be left with kind of a novelty print dress I might not use on my own so much, but this fabric I love, and I can see myself wearing it even when she grows out of her version, because it's such a cool fabric. So yeah, this is the cotton jersey she chose. Yeah, I just love it. I think it's so fun. And I probably wouldn't have picked it for myself, but actually I really like the idea of a dress in this fabric. So yeah, it's a cotton jersey, and it's got this sort of galaxy print on and these hot pinks and purples. And yeah, I've got 3 meters of it to make us each a dress. And actually there's a bit of a drama with this one in terms of the washing. We got it home, it arrived home, and I thought, well, I'll get that washed, and then we went out for the morning, and when we got back, the washing machine had sort of stopped halfway through the wash, so it was half full of water, and it had an error message on the machine, and it turned out the filter was blocked. I've had this washing machine for years actually, and we've never had a blocked filter before, so I think we've been quite lucky. So my husband spent quite a lot of the afternoon trying to drain the water out, because the door was locked and it wouldn't open until all the water was drained out. I guess otherwise it would have flooded everywhere. So we spent the afternoon quite grumpy, trying to sort of siphon the water out through the little filter hole at the bottom. And all the while this fabric was sort of sat there, sitting in the water, looking quite sorry for itself. And I was really keen to get it out. I wasn't sure whether it'll be sort of spoilt. I was keeping fingers crossed that it would just be kind of nice sort of soapy water in there and it'll be fine for a few hours just sort of sitting in it. So yeah, my husband managed to drain the filter, drain all the water out, get the filter out. There was a sock in there, which actually looked a bit like this fabric. It kind of gone a bit tie-dyed, so a little bit of colour must have come out. It was kind of like a pale version of this kind of galaxy print when it once was a white sock. And I gave the fabric a good old rinse and spin and everything, and it turned out absolutely fine. And I was able to dry it on the line still. We had just enough time that day to get it dry, so I'm glad it was okay. Me and my daughter were a little bit concerned about it sitting for quite a lot of the afternoon in the washing machine there before it could be rescued. Anyways, it's all ready to be cut out now into some dresses for me and my daughter. Oh, I'll link this fabric down below, by the way. I think it's really fab. So the dress patterns I'm planning to use are, well, firstly for me, I'm going to use this pattern here, which is the McCall's M7561. So I don't use a great number of big 4 patterns on the whole, although I am trying to kind of branch out more into them. But this is a really old pattern and one of the first patterns I ever tried when I started sewing, and it's one I really like actually. So it's a jersey dress with loads of different variations, as you can see, but essentially it's like a t-shirt dress with a gathered skirt on it, and then you can just make loads of variations on the sleeves and the necklines and that sort of thing. In terms of sizing, it's available in an extra small up to an extra large, which takes you up to a bust of 48 inches. I think I've always sized down slightly on this pattern because I find often the big 4 patterns tend to come up a little bit roomy on me. But yeah, I'm planning to make a sort of just above the knee length t-shirt dress. I'm going to go for the sort of scoop neckline, which you can see here, and then a short sleeve, so quite a nice summery dress. And what I like about this pattern is I find it really comfy to wear, and I particularly like how the waistline has an elastic channel there built in, so you kind of put elastic in, which makes it really hug you around the waist. I've also tried using the Tilly and the Buttons Agnes top pattern because there's a tutorial on the Tilly and the Buttons website for how to turn the Agnes top into a dress with a gathered skirt, and the Agnes top has quite a similar shape, I think, to the top of this pattern, particularly the scoop neck version. But that tutorial, basically it doesn't have any elastic added around the waist. You basically you make the top and then you sort of gather in the skirts and sew them together, and because the fabric's stretchy it does kind of stay put around the waist. But I do quite like the extra elastic channel this pattern has. I think it's a nice feature, and it does add a bit of extra snugness around the waist, which I quite like. The only main adjustment I make to this pattern when I'm making it is I add a neckband around the neck, because the pattern's designed just to turn under the jersey fabric and then just kind of sew it in place like that, almost like you do a hem. But I find with a neckline it's really easy to stretch it out when you do that, so I prefer to add a neckband just to make sure it will sit better around there and won't stretch out. So yeah, that's the pattern I'm planning to use for me. It's one I've used a few times before and I really like the fit, and I think it will look quite nice in this jersey, this cool jersey fabric. And then for my daughter, I'm planning to use a t-shirt pattern that I find fits her quite nicely. It's one I like for both my daughter and my son. I've mentioned it before, I'm sure it's a free pattern. It is this one here, the Kids ABB T pattern. It's just quite a simple, straightforward t-shirt pattern with short sleeves and optional patch pocket, and it comes as a slim and irregular fit, and it's quite easy to download on the it's made by DIBY Club. I'll link the pattern down below. There's also a women's version of the ABB t-shirt as well that you can download on the DIB website, again for free, and I think there might be a men's version too, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, it's a nice simple t-shirt pattern that sews up really nicely. And the children's version, it has an age range of 18 months up to 12 years, so quite a good age range. And with my daughter being 7, hopefully it's one I'll be able to get quite a lot of use out of for quite a few years to come. And so for her dress, what I'm planning to do is just basically crop off the t-shirt and then sort of cut out a sort of skirt using 2 sort of squares or rectangles, sew the side seams, gather it at the top, gather it into the sort of size of the t-shirt and just sew it together. So it should come together quite nicely. I have made versions for her in the past, like jersey dresses where I've added on ruffles and things, but for this version I'm just going to keep it simple and she was quite keen on that too. Just a simple t-shirt with one tier skirt, and that'll match mine because I'm not planning on adding any ruffles to mine, so we should match really nicely. And I think this fabric is quite out there, so I think it probably is nice to keep it simple in terms of the pattern design. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to twinning with her, so I can't wait to get this fabric all cut out and sewn up for both of us. And I did say to my son that if there's any of this fabric left over, perhaps I can make him a matching t-shirt so that he could twin with us too. But yeah, he looked mildly horrified at that idea, so I don't think I'll be doing that. I think if I have any scraps of this left over, I might turn them into some very funky knickers instead. So the next thing that I wanted to share is how I'm getting on with my new crochet project that I've been working on over the last week or two. And I am so enjoying this crochet project. I feel like I've had such a block when it comes to crochet for so long, and it's finally starting to click, and I'm really enjoying learning the new stitches and figuring out the instructions, and it feels like it's really coming together, and I feel like I know what I'm doing a lot better than I ever did before. So I've really been looking forward to any evening where I've had a chance to sit down and do a few rows of this project. Like I mentioned in a previous video, I've decided to try crocheting my first garment. So it's a bit of a leap of faith, but I thought I'd really like to give it a go, and I've chosen this pattern here, which is one I came across on Instagram. It is vest number 23 by Daisy and Peace, and I thought it'd be a good project to try as my first garment project because it's got quite a simple construction to it. This vest is just a front and a back that you crochet, and then you add on some ribbing around the neckband and around the armholes here too. So I thought I'd give it a go. I was a bit daunted when I printed out the instructions because there are quite a lot of diagrams in there that didn't really mean much to me, but I've taken a bit of time to practice the stitches and work my way through it slowly, and it feels like it's going okay, which is nice. So yeah, my plan is to make this in some lovely yarn I picked out, which is Debbie Bliss double knit yarn. This pattern is designed for double knit, and it's a merino wool yarn, which I really find comfy on my skin. So I've been working on the back, and here is my back. As you can see, I've made a fair bit of progress. So I chose these really cute colours, this sort of bright lipstick red and this pretty pink colour. I thought they'd be a nice kind of two colours to put together. So I've done the ribbing at the bottom, which is quite tricky actually, because you kind of crochet across the ribbing this way, so you kind of do these lines like that all the way across, which I find quite different to knitting. And also I found it really hard to kind of keep the tension even so that it ends up staying the same same height as well all the way along. I find I had to be really careful with my tension. And I started on the main back, and then you can see here at the back is the sort of neckline bit here. So the back is all finished, and now I need to move on to the front. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. There's going to be a lot of loose yarn to tie in at the end, but I don't mind that actually. I find that quite relaxing, sitting in front of the TV sort of threading in loose yarns. But I've got a long way to go before I do that, because I want to check the fit. So I'm going to do the front next, and then I'm going to sort of pin it all together and try it on and see how it fits. I'm not sure whether it might end up being a little bit short. I have had to make a little change in terms of the hooks I've been using. The pattern is designed to be knitted in a size 4 hook on the ribbing, and then a size 5 hook on the main sort of body. So when I tried that, it started to come up really big on the body, so I ended up sizing down and making a straight size 4 hook for the whole thing, and that seems to be getting the dimensions on the pattern, even though I did a tension swatch, so I thought I was okay, but I was not. So yeah, I'm aiming for the extra small, I think it is, which is designed for a bust of 32.5 inches, and the finished garment measurement on that is going to be 36 inches bust. So it's not designed to be tight fitting, it's designed to be a bit relaxed fit, this top. And I think I'm getting there with using the size 4 hooks. That seems to be giving good size for me, so we shall see how I get on. I'm looking forward to working on the front now, and then I'm looking forward to trying on and seeing how it's going to fit, but I'm kind of just taking it slowly, and if I have to kind of unpick it or unwind it and do it again, I don't mind, because I figure it's all good practice and I'm learning all along the way. So yeah, really enjoying that, and I'll update you on how I get on when I start the front and on the sizing as I go. So that is everything that I've got to share in this video, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about what I've been up to on this sewing front, and also hearing a bit about my sewing plans and my crochet progress too. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please do subscribe. And yeah, thank you again for watching. I hope you've had a good week as well, and I hopefully see you for another video again soon. Bye!